Everyone, I am Raw Chef Yin, a raw vegan chef based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Today, I will be speaking to Lissa of Raw Food Romance on satisfying flavor cravings. So let me just pin, oh yeah, it's there. And here we go, just in case people don't know what it is. Yeah, and hello, Raw Safari. And we're doing this live in celebration of the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. There are loads of free live streams going on right now. I'm also doing some food demos as well online. There is Lissa, Raw Food Romance. Yay! So we'll just wait for her for a minute to join and we'll talk about satisfying flavor cravings. Hello, Fully Raw Mel. Raw Safari. Peace, I love you. Found you on TED Talk. Oh, that's so nice. Okay. Let's go with Lissa. She has sent in a request, so let's hope this works. Ah! Yay!
Yay! Oh, I love you. You are so
Aww.
amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lissa. So good to see you again. And I'm glad you went for a hike. It's like it's great that you have some balance now, because I know the last bundle you were just like sitting on your couch and doing IG lives nonstop.
Yeah, I know. This time I had to make sure that I really take care of myself because the first bundle and even the last bundle, I was taking on too much, and I feel like at least this time, because Nate and I are in that sleep routine. We are we're really, I don't want to say strict, but we're really on point with our sleep. So at 8 o'clock, when our phone goes off, then we do our night routine, and it's been way more helpful. I've gotten more done by getting my sleep on point and really focusing on like still doing the things like going for our morning walks and scheduling in our hikes and actually doing that. I feel like I get more done than when I was staying up until 2 or 3 in the morning.
Right. Yeah. What I do is I've been trying to go to bed, like be in bed by 10. So I try and put an alarm clock at 9:45. But I think that doesn't work. I should start earlier, because I know you've shared in your stories you start way earlier, so you have a whole night ritual as well to prepare you to sleep. So that's something I need to look into as well.
Yeah, it's really fun actually. When we got to our hiking location, I told Nate, I was like, I'm really excited to go to bed tonight because our evening routine has become like a ritual. Like when our phones go off, we're like, okay, we'll finish up what we're doing. And then we go and I do my skincare routine. I get to spend time with myself. I get to read. And we want to actually start doing yoga. We're going to add that to our routine, do some stretching. We listen to meditation videos on YouTube or whatever. We have Bob Proctor that we like to listen to a lot lately. And another guy, Jake Ducey, he's got some cool stuff too. But we've been listening to like meditation videos and just really like our evening routine has become one of my most favorite times of the day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, I don't want to go to bed later. And now like 9:15 feels like midnight to me.
Wow.
It's so late. Like if we don't get into bed by like 9:15, I feel like it's too late. Where I'm like, oh man, so late. I'm so tired. But we're up at like 5:30 in the morning, and we wake up without an alarm clock. And I've never in my whole life ever woken up that early without an alarm clock and felt like, hey, I could have the day, right? I've never ever, but I've never gone to bed at 9 o'clock either. So I wasn't able to do that. You can't wake up at 5 when you go to bed at midnight for long periods of time, but
Cool, nice. Yes, so I was going through your Cravings course yesterday and this morning, and there's so much info. I haven't managed to go through everything yet because it was just released. But good format. I love how you have like the little quizzes in between as well. And I was like, this is not a mini course. This is a full-on course.
Yeah, I know. And when Chris was like, "Oh, we have to do it's 1 to 2 hours for a mini course," and I'm like, well, I have 5 meditation videos in there, and each one is like 10 to 12 minutes. I'm like, there's an hour right there. But, and in each lesson, there's a downloadable PDF with like, I think someone said there was almost 200 pages worth of
Yeah,
stuff.
that's why I heard. Yeah, I think, was it watermelon lime or something? I think someone said that as well.
Yeah.
I haven't, yeah, I've just downloaded one there because I was trying to look for where your recipes are because you know how
Oh,
much
yeah.
I'm
Yep, yep.
huge fan of your recipes. So I'm like, which one is the recipe download?
In the fallback 5 lesson, I know I have some recipes. But the
Ah,
cool
right.
thing about the course, and this is why I think everyone should grab the bundle right now, because mine and Nate's courses will never be this price. This is like the lowest price that you'll ever be able to get them for. And the cool thing is that Nate and I will both be adding new videos to our course throughout the months and years. Like if I make a new meditation video, I'll add it. And I want to add a section in the Cravings course with kitchen videos and new recipes for cravings. So I'm going to
Oh,
be
nice.
I'm going to be adding some new videos. So now's the time to get the bundle, because once you get the bundle, and you can get it from Yin's link or my link or whatever, you can sign up and you've got unlimited access for the life of the course, however long it's up. And I plan to have it up forever. So
Oh, okay.
however long that's going to be. So yeah, definitely you'll always have access to everything. You'll be able to watch the new courses and the new videos that I post up. And same with Nate for his course as well. He wants to do recipe videos with the microgreens and the ferments. So definitely look for that in the future. I'll be sharing my stories.
Was it easy to create the course using Payhip? Because I've never tried that function before, but I thought it looked very professional. Yeah.
Oh, thank
You know, with
you.
the
Yeah.
continue buttons and you know, everything at the sides, and then, you know, how you, yeah. So it was just very, very professional.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad you loved it. Yeah. So Payhip just created their courses literally about a month before the bundle released. So
Oh,
I didn't know where I
okay.
was going to host my course or Nate's course. And then
Yeah.
we were like, well, what platform should we use? I wasn't sure. And then Payhip sent an email saying, oh, we can now offer courses. And I'm like, oh, perfect. Because I already use
Nice.
Payhip for my
Yeah,
ebooks.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
just used their platform for the course. And it's been so nice. It was really easy to upload everything. They make it very user friendly. So, and it's great for the students to log in. I love how there's a progression bar. So you can
Yes,
see how
yes.
much you finished. Yeah.
So it's very user friendly for anybody who gets the bundle and they start using it. Of course, it's so easy to navigate and press the continue buttons and download the PDF. Everything is very, very clear. In fact, I was showing my boyfriend Nate's sprouts, krauts, and microgreens course, and my boyfriend was like, "Wow, this is like watching a movie." And then he was like, "Oh, Nate is so, you know, because Nate is so enthusiastic. He's like, "Ooh, this is like, you know, my I'm watching a TV show." And then the best thing was my boyfriend is like, now I want to create a course on Payhip because he has some of it. I usually put all my stuff on Gumroad. My boyfriend has things on different places because he's experimenting. So he has things on Payhip. He has things on different areas as well. But so he's like, yeah, he said it twice yesterday. Like, okay, after watching Nate's course, I want to create a course on Payhip as well. So you can tell
Oh,
Nate
that
that.
is so awesome. I love it. I'll have to tell Nate that. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was really fun to make those. And like you said, you were looking for the recipes. I have 10 recipes in there. They're more like my collection of my favorites. And
okay, yeah.
some I've changed a little bit, so they're slightly newer, just different flavors. But I want to add more brand new recipes to that are more like, I want to add a burger, like a new special burger for the Cravings
Ah.
course. I just didn't have enough time to do it all, but I will be adding for sure.
Yeah, I know what you mean because like I have so many ideas on what I want to do, but I just don't have enough time to implement the ideas and carry it out and develop all the recipes. So
Right? I
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The ideas. I've got so many ideas. And I want to release my raw immersion course. Like I have a big full course that
Oh
I've
yeah, yeah. I remember you talking about that as well.
yeah, and that one I've been working on for now. It's been like 3 years since I
Ooh.
started. I have there's 90 recipes. It's basically based off Meal Plan Volume 3. So it's all the
Mm-hmm.
recipes from Meal Plan Volume 3, but I make them in the kitchen on video.
Mm.
So I have
Mm.
to do that. And then I still need to film all the videos for all the information. And I
Mm-hmm.
want to make a meditation video for every single day. Like there's just so much to do for that one, but I'll get there eventually.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Aw.
So, so today, we said we're going to be talking about satisfying flavor cravings, and cravings is always something that comes up with everyone, with a lot of people that I know. So, yeah, maybe you can start out by talking about what are cravings. You know, why do we have cravings? Are they good? Are they bad? Like, how do we? Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
How-
So over the years, I mean, I've battled with cravings. I think most of us deal with cravings. So when we think about cravings as being bad or something that we need to avoid or avoid or something, like we don't really realize that a craving is actually simply our body asking for fuel. And well, people will say like, well, I craved it because I smelled it, or my friends were eating it, or I was at the grocery store and it looked good, so I wanted to get it, or whatever the reason is, because there's so many reasons. Or I came home from work and I was making food for my family and I ate that food because I was craving it. There's so many reasons why someone craves. But when we kind of like bunch them all together, they become a root or a trunk, kind of like a trunk of a tree, right? And the root cause tends to always be under eating. So if we don't eat enough during the day, or we skip a meal, or we go too long without eating, or we're portion controlling, we're eating smaller portions, then cravings are going to happen because the body is simply asking for energy. And when we have a craving, we're going to fall back on our habits. So whatever is habitual, right? We have our habits. We tend to throw a pizza in the oven if we are craving dinner, right? And it's so habitual that that's what we choose and that's what we fall back on, because we are creatures of habit. We always choose what is habitual and what tastes good, what's convenient, what our friends and family are eating, what we have connections with. We're going to choose those things. So the key is to change our habits. We have to start planning and scheduling in our new habits. And once those become new habits, then you can recognize when you are having a craving for something random. You're going to simply recognize that as a signal for fuel. So like, for example, if someone's craving a pizza, say you're watching this right now and you're craving pizza, it could simply be, most often, it's the fact that you just need to eat something. And once you get into that new habit, then you'll easily be able to choose different options instead of what you're habitually choosing. So really, whenever someone says they have a craving, I'm always thinking, when's the last time that you ate? And a great example I talk about in the course is, say someone has their lunch at like 11:30 or noon, right? They're working a 9 to 5 job and they have their lunch at noon. And then they don't get off work until 5 o'clock, and then they have to go to the store and pick something up, or they have to pick their kids up from soccer practice, and they don't get home until 6:30, at which point they have to make dinner for their family, right? And on the way home, maybe they're like, I'm too tired, whatever, and they end up going through the drive-through because they haven't eaten since 11:30 or noon. So if they don't get home until 6:30, that could be close to like 7 hours, 6 to 7 hours not eating anything. So it can be really difficult for somebody who is dealing with cravings to actually be able to make a different or healthier choice with dinner time because they just haven't been able to eat throughout that period of time. So it's really important that we fuel up, and most of the time the cravings are simply because we've gone too long without eating and we just need to fuel up, but we fall back on our habits. So
I'm curious. So, what time do you usually have lunch, and then what time do you start feeling hungry and eating your fruit for snacks?
That's a great question. So for me, we'll wake up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock or whatever, and at which point we try to get the majority of our calories in early in the day. So we have like 400 to 500 calories worth of fruit first thing in the morning when we get up, and then we go for our morning walk. So we're walking for like an hour, hour and a half, and then we do our smoothie. So our smoothie tends to be around 500 to 800 calories. It just depends on what we make, and if we end up splitting the big smoothie, sometimes it'd be 400. But before noon, typically we're at our halfway point. I'll be at around 1,200 calories before lunch even. So most of the morning is all fruit, and we'll snack on fruits. Like sometimes I'll run into the kitchen and grab 2 mangoes and just eat those, or have a couple bananas or some oranges or whatever fruit that we have around. Nate's really into grapes lately, so we've got grapes in the fridge. I'll just go grab some grapes and eat those. But so around 1,200 calories before noon, and then around noon, 12:30 is when we have our lunch, and we have this big gigantic salad with a fruity based dressing, maybe chia seeds if we're going to do our omega-3 fats in there. And then maybe, I don't normally feel hungry between lunch and dinner, but if I am, I will grab some fruit and just eat if I feel like it. But normally by dinner time, I'm already at 1,800 calories for the day, because I try to get the bulk of my calories before lunch and at lunch. So at dinner time, I'm already at 1,800 calories, and I'm not craving the things that I used to crave because I've fueled up throughout the day. Whereas before, I used to only eat, like, I would restrict myself before I went raw. I would restrict myself, and then I would end up eating tons of other stuff because I wasn't eating during the day, and then evening would come and I just want to eat all kinds of things, right? So our dinner tends to be lately around 6:30. It really depends. Like after our live, we're gonna eat a quick dinner and then go to bed. We don't really like eating like right before bed, but we will later if we need to. Like if we're hungry, we eat. We honor our body, and if I feel hungry at all, sometimes I'll eat mangoes before bed, or we'll have like a miniature salad before bed. It just depends if we're feeling sweet or savory. Nate will make nice cream, and we'll have nice cream before bed sometimes.
Oh, I love his nice cream. I've made so many from his Inside Scoop, and yeah, my boyfriend and I, we love it. I think I made like 5, 6, 7. I don't know how many, but yeah, I need to start listing out and see how many I've tried. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know. The ice cream is so delicious.
Yeah. And then the other thing you need to tell Nate as well. So prior to this, my boyfriend generally doesn't like nice cream because for him, he's like, oh, it's just like, mashed frozen bananas. But now, because I've started using Nate's recipes and I make it into like a sundae, or he has the sauces and all that, and then like I think recently I made the mint mojito. So
That's a good one.
and I made the sundae the other time. And then I can't remember what I think I made something with figs, right? I think there was a figgy cod. Yeah, I made that as well. So now my boyfriend is like, oh, this is great. It still tastes like bananas, but it's great.
Oh, that is so awesome. Yes, I will tell Nate that too. That's epic. Oh, I love it. I love hearing that people enjoy our recipes. And your recipes are so good. Oh my gosh.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously. Like, yeah, we've made a few of yours too, and they're just like, they're so full of flavor. And I mean, that's what we're talking about. Fulfilling flavor cravings, right? Like sometimes we crave certain things, and I personally feel like we can satisfy certain cravings simply by using spices. Spices, like if you can use them in a certain way, you can actually satisfy cravings. Like for example, if someone's craving curry, you could use the spices to flavor it so that it tastes like a curry. Or like if you're making an Italian dish, like a raw marinara, you're using oregano and basil, black pepper, and lemon and lots of garlic. So it's going to taste Italian, right? So you can get those flavors, or Mexican even. Mexican's a really easy one to get the flavors out without having to have the things that you typically crave. You can still get the flavor without having to have the actual food that we might not necessarily want to have. So
I think your recipes, you're so good at using spices in your dressing recipes and your soup recipes. Because, because I've been making them right now. I was like, oh, we need to make, I think because you put a combination of the spices, just like not just one or two spices, but I think usually there's at least four. And then it comes together really, really well. And then there's no need, because you see, from my culinary training, they always talk about you need to have salt, you need to have oil, you need to have heat to carry the flavors. But in raw food and in your recipe, it's like, no, we don't need the oil, and we don't, and you use miso instead of salt. So, that's fermented and that's a living food. So that's great as well. And that really carries the flavors through. And I love how you use the dates in your dressings, because then it makes everything so creamy, and the sweetness from the dates brings out the other flavors as well. Yeah. So
thank you. Yeah, the miso is game changing, because the reason why because we used to use quite a bit of coconut aminos, and we still use coconut aminos, but it has taken a back seat to miso, because miso, the reason we started using it was we watched a video from Dr. Greger. Yeah, and he was talking about how the sodium in miso doesn't act the same way in the body. And we're like, well, it's a fermented food, and we're all into the fermented foods. So we switched and we started using a lot more miso, and it's a lot lower in salt. We also get the low sodium version, which I actually can't tell the difference between the low sodium and the regular miso. And I'm like, then let's just get the low sodium one, because I can't tell the difference. And so that's been a really fun addition. Plus you're getting the fermented, the probiotics in there as well. So it's kind of plays two parts in the dressings. And yes, the dates. I get a lot of people asking me why I put so many dates in my dressings. And I'm like, well, because if you look at the grocery store and you go into the dressing section, the first or second or third ingredient on most of the salad dressings is sugar, because we need that sweetness. And I think people are scared to put sweet into their dressing because they want savory, but without realizing that you need like the full kind of experience of the dressing. You need a sweet, you need the spice, you need the aromatic, sometimes you need a little bit of fats. And we'll add a little bit of fats to our dressings just to get that little extra boost of creamy to enjoy that way. And then the sour, obviously lemon juice or apple cider vinegar or something. But you do need to have like a good balance of all the flavors. Otherwise it feels off. Like you taste it and you're like, I don't know, it's not really what I was craving or what I was wanting, because we need to have that full flavor going on. I remember the first time I looked at it, I was like, 5 dates, why so many? But when I put it in, I was like, oh, this makes sense. It totally makes sense. Because it's not just 5 dates, it's all the other spices, there's the miso, there's the lemon juice or the lime juice, apple cider vinegar, everything else. Then it's like, it balances everything out, so it comes together really, really nicely. Yes, totally. I know, so delicious. Someone was asking the brand of miso that we use. We use any brand of miso that we can. But there's an international market here in Vegas, and they sell, oh my gosh, there's at least like 50 different kinds of miso in there. And I'm like, what? So we typically buy the organic, I don't even know the brand. It just says organic low sodium on it. But we have used so many different kinds just to taste, just to try different kinds and experience different ones. As long as it's vegan, we'll get it. So we try. We're not scared to try. We're not scared of fermented soy. We're not scared of that kind of stuff. So we don't have a special brand that we love. But when we were in Oregon, we would get the Miso Master, has a chickpea miso. And we
Yes, I've
would
seen that.
use, yeah, we used that one a lot when we were in Oregon. But now that we have the international market here, there's so many good things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, right? I mean, I'm like you. I don't stick to one miso brand. I just make sure that it's organic, and I just make sure that there's no bonito flakes in it, because the ones here in Malaysia sometimes they add bonito, and that's fish. So I just need to make sure it's vegan. But every time I go, I actually consciously look out for new ones, because each miso tastes different, because it's fermented, right? And sometimes they use different beans, there's different things and all that. So I'm like, ooh, there's a new one here, let's try this, let's try this, like this. And yeah, and then recently I went to this slow food cafe, one of the very, very few places that actually offers healthy slow food. They're not vegan, but they do have vegan options. And I was talking to the owner, and then she was so sweet. She's like, oh, we make, they're also like kind of like a fermentation house. So they make their own miso as well. So she gave me a bottle of her white miso. I was like, oh my God. So yeah. So yesterday I tried out Dan's Nam Thai curry. And so I added miso, her white miso in it. So if anybody's in Malaysia, check out Be Real Cafe in Kapong. They do sell their different ferments, their lacto ferments, their miso, and all that. So that'd be something really cool to check out, because that's made in-house, and I think they use organic beans as well. They use filtered water, so it's all good ingredients. Yeah.
Oh, that is so nice to know that there's places that are actually like, there's so many more conscious places coming out now all over the world, which is really great to see. And yeah, I love living in Vegas because there's so much more diversity here. And
I know, I've seen your like grocery haul videos and all that. I was like, wow. I was asking my boyfriend, because he used to live in the US, right? I said, hey, they went to 99 Ranch and all that. And he said, oh yeah, I've seen it before. Yeah, I've heard it before. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, 99 Ranch is one of our favorite places. And it's cool too because you can find new varieties. And you know how we're big on variety. We're always like variety, variety, variety. So we like to go to different stores that we might not go to normally. And I love being able to support those stores for sure, because I'm not going to shop at we do shop at stuff like Costco or whatever, but I'd rather support other smaller chains or other stores that have more variety. And I can find so much more variety going to the international stores, and it's less expensive, I've noticed. So there is a Mexican store here called La Bonita, and they have awesome produce. We found mame sapote, and we found some cherimoyas. They were expensive, but every once in a while.
The mame sapote, that's something I haven't tried yet, and I don't think I can get it here in Malaysia. I need to ask my food supplier, because I think that's one thing I haven't tried. So I'm always, and I keep seeing all of the raw vegans post about it. So I can get the sapodias, that's the chiku, that's grown locally here. Even like the gag fruit was grown locally here. Cherimoyas, yeah, we can get that. But the mame sapote, I haven't seen it, so I really need to
I hope you get to try one, because really it tastes like, canned pumpkin pie. Have you ever had canned pumpkin pie?
I don't think I have.
Okay, so
but
it tastes like pumpkin pie, but it's a fruit. And if you sprinkle a little bit of like pumpkin pie spice, like cinnamon and nutmeg and stuff, it tastes like pumpkin pie.
Ooh.
Like if you mashed it up, and it's the same color too, you just mash it up with some spices and put it in a pan, you could probably almost convince somebody that it was pumpkin pie.
Oh, wow.
And it is so delicious. And it's really creamy, but it's only 3% fat. So it kind of tastes like it would be a fatty fruit, but there's no fat. And kind of like a banana. Bananas are kind of creamy-ish. Mame sapote and banana nice cream that Nate has a recipe. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I hope you get to try one, because they're so delicious.
Yeah, definitely. There was one question much earlier that I wanted to point out to you. Someone asked, saying I am more hungry at night. So what
typically so typically if you feel more hungry at night, that's a clear sign that you haven't eaten enough during the day. So if you haven't eaten enough during the day, dinner is going to be more challenging because your body is just undercarbed or undernourished for the day. So it would be wise to possibly think about what are you intaking during the day? Are you restricting? Are you skipping meals? Are you going too long without eating? Like, what is the reasoning behind being hungry in the evening? Because if you eat enough during the day, your dinner is very easy because you've already fueled yourself. Like, think of going on a really long car ride or a road trip, and you start off the road trip on an empty tank of gas. You're not going to get very far, right? And we need to constantly fuel our bodies and to nourish ourselves. And I think that's one of the bigger problems that we have in the raw community, is that people are just not eating enough. And then they run into issues where they end up maybe binging. Like, I know that there's some people that I personally know of who will come on social media and they share their raw stuff, and then they disappear for a month or two. And then they come back and they're sharing their raw stuff, and then they disappear. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with that balance of actually nourishing themselves, because when you go raw, you have to consciously make sure that you eat enough. It is very easy to undereat on raw, because raw food is very low calorie, especially when you're doing a low fat version. It's very lower calorie unless you eat enough. You have to eat enough. It's so important to eat enough and nourish yourself with a wide variety of foods so that dinner becomes easier and you're not starving at dinner time because you fueled yourself up throughout the rest of the day. So that's what I would say. Make sure that you eat enough during the day and get that wide variety in, so it's a lot easier to make your dinner.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, Aloha Honu asks, can you spell the fruit that tastes like pumpkin pie? Thank you.
Yes, I will share that in the post. I saw Raw Vegan Ginger's in here. She said, Mame! Mame! Sopote. Right here. I'm posting it in the chat. It's delicious. It's one of the best ones. Ours was pretty expensive. I think it's about this big, and it was like 13 US dollars. But you know, it's kind of like a durian. It's a treat. You only get it once in a while because they're pretty expensive. We did find one mame, like when we first moved to Vegas, we were at one international store and they had some, and I think it was the end of season, and they were only like $2 each. And we're like, what? They're so cheap here. But I think it was end of season, so we had a lot of mame.
I think I remember seeing those stories when you just arrived, right? And you found it. So it's MAMEYSAPOTE. So that's on my list of foods that I want to eat.
Definitely.
I noticed something like I start getting because remember, going back to the question I was asking you, like, when do you start, like, you know, getting hungry or craving like after lunch? Because I usually have my lunch, well, it really depends. I'm trying to have my lunch at 12:30, but I think I usually end up having it at 1 or 1:30, depending on like how much I want to put in, because I put in a lot of different ingredients in it, right? Different kinds of veggies and edible flowers and fruits and roots and sprouts and all that. So so usually I eat about 1:30, but by 4 I always find like it's almost like clockwork, like around 4 o'clock, that's when I start getting like, ooh, okay, I feel like I need to eat something else. And it depends. I mean, like, I try and remind myself to grab some fruit, but that's when I feel like, ooh, maybe I need some raw vegan crackers or like some granola or But the funny thing is, my boyfriend doesn't feel hungry. Then I'm like, how come I'm so hungry and you're not hungry? And you're a guy, don't you need more calories? So
and you could just be, you might just need naturally more calories based on your metabolism. And it also depends on how much you ate in the morning as well. If you didn't eat as big of a breakfast, you might be hungrier in the afternoon, but always honor your body and eat what you feel best eating. If you want the raw crackers, go for the raw crackers. But fruit is always my go-to for snacking. Like, if I do feel like having something after lunch, typically, like, if I do crave something to eat, it would be like, around the 3 or 4 o'clock mark. And I normally just eat a bunch of mangoes or have some bananas or grapes or whatever. But on the days that we eat lunch late, we tend to have a smaller dinner. just because we're not as hungry. Because if we eat at 1:30, we're not really as hungry at around 5:30, or we'll end up eating dinner at 6 o'clock to have a bigger dinner. But really, honestly, like you just have to listen to your body and honor your body wherever it is. Because sometimes the brain, I can't remember the amount of calories that the brain burns. It's something like 65% of the calories that we consume, the brain uses, right? So if we're thinking a lot, or we're doing a lot of brain work or studying or whatever, our brain needs more energy. And so sometimes our calorie needs might be different depending on how much we're thinking. So that might be part of it as well, but we don't know. And just to honor your body and listen to its signals. And if you do have a craving, just honor that by consuming foods that you know are good for you and that you love, and to just enjoy life instead of, I feel like too many people are so focused on like what's perfect or what should be, or they're trying to fit themselves in a box of like, I need to be like this, right? Instead of actually enjoying their lives and just eating when they feel like eating and honoring their body. And with time, you get to learn, like, you know, when you feel at that hunger level, right? And then you just create habits around that. Whereas if you feel like the crackers, you could maybe have a couple crackers to enjoy those, and then have some mangoes as well to fuel up on the energy.
Yeah, because I've been making Jade's crackers. She has two cracker recipes, a pulp cracker and then another one which has like chia seeds and flax seeds. And I really like that one because it's like super crispy and all that. I made it 3 times already. I just told her that. Yeah, so that's in the bundle as well. Jade has a Dehydrated Delights ebook, which has, you know, like tons of dehydrated recipes like taco shells, pizzas, and crackers. So yeah, I really like the crackers. But, you know, I think the other day I was like, I thought, I was just telling myself like, oh, you know, I'll have 3 or 4, and then I kept having it, and then I ate up the whole thing.
But you know what? That's okay. It's okay because you wanted them, and again, remember, it always tends to be because we haven't eaten enough. Typically, that's why we can eat more, is because we just haven't fueled up. But if you're fueled up, you're less likely to eat other stuff because you feel full. For example, if you go to the grocery store on an empty stomach, everything's gonna look amazing because you go in a state of hunger, right? Yeah. But if you go after you've had a big gigantic raw salad and you're full, and you go to the grocery store because you need cilantro and some carrots or whatever, you're probably just going to get that and leave without thinking that you need to eat everything in the store. So we really have to stay focused on fueling up on all the fruit and the salads and stuff, and then using those other foods as just enjoyable side dishes, or add them to your salad or whatever, because I think that's how we can really tell when we've gone too long without eating. We tend to want to overeat certain things because really it's not about, it's bad food. It's just that we haven't fueled up enough.
But yeah, I think what you said about the thinking might make sense, because I know like during lunch, I do my salads are very big, and I'm actually very satisfied when I have the lunch. You know, I do make sure that I eat until I'm like totally full and satiated during lunch. But it's just like a few hours later and I'm like, oh, I'm hungry again. But you're right about thinking, because I do think a lot. I mean, even my boyfriend's like, what? Well, you're thinking all the time, right? I'm like, like for this bundle right now, I'm like, oh, should I go on IG Live? Should I go on Facebook Live? Should I post this? Should I write this e-newsletter? Which recipe should I try? Oh, I haven't made the reels yet. And yeah, so I'm just like thinking nonstop. And because I'm the one who's preparing all the meals every day for us, so like I do have kind of a schedule, like, oh, for lunch, I already like, I plan for my week for lunch. But for breakfast and dinner, I don't plan it in advance. So every day I'm like thinking about like, what do we make for dinner? What do we make for? Yeah. So maybe it's all that thinking as well that, is using up the calories.
It could be. But yeah, planning, like, I like that you said that, because planning can really help as well, because a lot of people just wing it. Right? They just, they're on the fly, and they don't really think. We don't plan our meals typically. I mean, there's some people that do meal planning or whatever, but we we want to eat intuitively, but we don't realize that we need to actually plan our meals so that we can get through our days. And something that really helped me in the earlier days was to actually write down what I wanted for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and what I had for snacks. So if I wrote it down the night before, when I woke up, I was like, I have a clear plan in my head. This is what I'm making for breakfast. This is what I'm having for lunch. This is what I'm having for snacks, and this is what I want to make for dinner. And then I can make it in action. I can do the thing that I want to do. I set the new habit in motion. So planning, I like that you plan your lunches. That's really great.
Yeah, usually for the rest of the meals for the day, I do it in the morning because I find you do it in the evening, the night before, but I find like by evening, because I wake up at 5:30 in the morning, right? So by 5 p.m. in the evening, I'm just like, I'm already kind of brain dead and I don't really want to think about anything. At least when I wake up in the morning, then I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to have for,
I love that you said that too,
because
I think that morning time is the best time for people to plan for the day because they have so much more energy after a restful nights of sleep. So you can, Nate and I, when Nate was working at the hemp farm, we would wake up really early and I would blend our smoothies. I would blend both of our lunch dressing and dinner dressing, and I would chop all the vegetables for lunch and dinner. So everything was done within an hour, first thing in the morning. And I loved it because I'd be working and then noon comes and I'm like, oh, I can just go into the fridge and grab the stuff and dump it in a bowl and I'm done, right? I didn't have to think about it. And then when Nate would come home, we would just do the same thing for dinner. We would just dump it all together and then we had dinner. So preparing in the morning was the best thing. We really loved doing that because then we're done for the day. We just get to eat it.
Yeah, I really like your 1 hour YouTube video that you showed how you make, your breakfast, lunch, dinner, all your meals in like within that hour. I was like, I need to go out and buy like the exact ingredients that you did. And then like, follow that YouTube video and like,
I want to make more of those actually. I'm going to make more of those coming up because it's so great to watch someone do it because you're like, I can do it too. Like,
because you're doing it in real time, it's not like sped up or anything like that. So that's like, actual time and all that. So I was like, I really need to do that. Yeah. So
I love that. I love that feedback. I'm totally going to do more of those. Because of you. I'll dedicate them to you.
Aw, thank you. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about Flavour Cravings? We are doing this live to celebrate the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. Lissa has just released a new course, Checkmate Your Cravings. And she also has written an ebook together with Chef AJ on Make It Raw. So if you guys want to check it out, check out the link in my bio or Lissa's bio. The bundle is only going on until the 11th of April. So it's only a short time and you can get tons of digital e-resources from all the creators for only $49 US. So there's also Nate's Sprouts, microgreens, and Crowd's course. If you let me see. I like the 21-day raw transformation program by Raw Intuition because he goes really in depth and he's got like really cool tips and techniques and he's got like his traffic light system. He's got his like was it 5 yes or some 5 question system, and he's got this acronym called SFS.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to go through everything and I'm like, I want to go through all the courses because there's so much gold in there.
Yeah, and then I really like the raw relationship course by Julie. So that's something interesting and new. I mean, it focuses more on what if your partner isn't vegan and how you approach it, embrace it. But I think it's just like, it's good techniques to apply to like anything you have a disagreement with your partner, right? So understanding his core values, understanding your core values. And I love the story in the course, how she talks about how she, her kids previously wouldn't even like touch any like broccoli and all that. And now they're eating broccoli, like raw broccoli, like popcorn. And she talks about like how she just puts them on the plate. They don't have to eat it, or they can take it, sniff it, you know, swat fight with it, and then lick it. And then they have squirrel bites. I'm like, oh wow, it's very practical ways of how to approach the whole thing. So that's a really good course as well.
Yeah.
And then I love the bit about Melody has an ebook on raw vegan French cuisine. Yeah, I like a whole ebook on that, because it's like French cuisine. It's like hardly anybody makes it raw, you know. You always say like Italian and Western and pizzas and all that, but like French cuisine. So I made her hot goat cheese salad, because that was the easiest. But she has like she has like salad, she has savory stuff, and she has a quiche. She also has like loads of desserts. I think there's a chocolate fondant as well. So yeah, that's like super cool.
There's so much stuff. I had somebody in here asking if you could talk a little bit about your tarts and pies book. I am excited to make some of your tarts and pies.
Yeah, so I actually really, at one point I really like making desserts, but my previous desserts were always I'm just trying to bring up my my previous desserts were, I always use nuts, and I had always used oil. So this time I decided like, okay, I'm going to challenge myself and see whether I can come up with, you know, ties and tarts. I
love it.
yeah. Tarts and pies without the oil, without using the coconut oil, you know, to get the texture, and also pies as well, and also without using nuts. So like for the tart shells and all that, I experimented with different things. I used like sprouted buckwheat, I used cauliflower, I think there's one with dragon fruit as well. After a few tries, I got the texture right, so that turned out really well. Because I live in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, I wanted to showcase a lot of our Asian food. So there's the durian. I love that as a durian pie. I also put in jackfruit as well, and pink dragon fruit as well. But for those of you who cannot get those, I've put in some familiar fruits as well. So there's, you know, blackberries and raspberries and strawberries and blueberries, and I believe mango. Like most people can get mango anywhere. So yeah, we made like a really pretty mango tartlet. So there are videos on it as well, on how to make it, because I found that the way I learn, I think if I watch a video of somebody making it, it guides me so much better than reading from a recipe ebook. Yeah. So for each and every one of them, there are videos as well.
Wow.
What I'm really excited was because I had this in my head for a long time, and then I'm glad I made it. This is my tomato and basil tart. Yeah. And when people saw the pictures, they all thought it was baked. They're like, "Are you sure that's raw?" I said, "It's raw. It's just dehydrated, you know."
Yep,
Yeah.
I had the same, because I posted the recipe that's in the book I wrote with Chef AJ with the sunchokes and the asparagus, and people were like, "Is this an April Fool's joke? Are you eating cooked potatoes?" And I'm like, "Sunchokes, they're dehydrated."
Yeah. That one, they really look like potatoes, and the sauce looks so yummy. I was like, oh. I don't know whether I can get sunchokes here. No, I've been trying to look online, but I think I need to actually step into the grocery stores and see, like, you know, whether they have it here. Because it's not like something regular that we can get, but maybe some of the specialty stores. Yeah. But I did get some sweet potatoes, so I thought like maybe I can just use it, because sweet potato is so much easier to get.
Yeah, the thing with the sunchoke is it's like, I've tried with sweet potatoes and they are pretty good, like especially if you get like a softer yam, those tend to work a little bit better because they are softer. But the sunchokes, for some reason, they have the same texture as a cooked potato. They don't taste like a potato, but they're pretty close. And what happened was, the reason I discovered this was because we buy like big packs of Sunchokes at the international store, because the international store is out of the way for us. So we have to go a different direction to go there. So when we do go there, we buy like four containers of miso, and we buy like 4 or 5 packs of Sunchokes, just because it's so far out of the way. But we had extra in the freezer, in the fridge, and I'm like, oh, well, I didn't want them to go bad. So I chopped them up and I put them in the freezer to freeze, like I do with the asparagus and the green beans and cauliflower and stuff, to freeze for the texture. And then we were making one of my microbiome masalas with a bunch of frozen veggies in there. And I added some of the Sunchokes. And when we were eating it, Nate was like, it tastes like there's potatoes in here. And I'm like, oh, it's the Sunchokes. So that's why I wanted to make a lot of recipes with Chef AJ, because Chef AJ uses potatoes and cauliflower and stuff like that in some of her recipes. And I was like, well, I could make her recipes raw, and we could just use Sunchokes, frozen and thawed Sunchokes, and it works perfectly. So yeah, they're also, Juliet is saying in the chat, they're also called Jerusalem artichokes. So if you ask, and I know that there's another country, I don't even know how they say it, but it has different names in different countries. So
all right. I've seen artichokes in the store, but they're really expensive because they're all imported. But I mean, it'll be worth just paying and trying it out anyway. I think that's the other thing with, like, because I know I have some kind of money blocks and money issues. So sometimes I'm like, oh, this is too expensive. But now I'm working through that, and I'm going like, no, it's, it's just all energy, and you want to try it out. At least try it out once. I think it's worth spending the money just to see what it tastes like. Especially as a chef, I should be trying out different things, experimenting, so that I can really understand, just food better, and how I can come up with more interesting things as well. So
I love
definitely
that. Yeah, because I actually never had a sunchoke until we moved to Vegas. And what happened was, we're friends with John Kohler now, because he lives like 20 minutes away. So
Okay, Raw.
He lives John Kohler. He's so awesome. Yeah, he's so awesome. So he came over to our house one day, and it was a Friday, and they have, like, just down the street from us, there's a farmer's market that's every Friday. So he wanted to take us and show us that farmer's market. So we go in there, and this farm was awesome because they don't spray at all. They use veganic growing practices, and they had these little sunchokes. And he's like, have you ever had a sunchoke? And I'm like, no, actually, I've never had a sunchoke. He's like, you got to buy these and try them. You can eat them raw. And I was like, that's cool. So I bought one, and I think we grated it in a salad or something. We didn't really notice much, like, the flavor, because it was so small. We just bought one little tiny one, so it wasn't like we made a difference. And then about 6 months later, so I had the one sunchoke, and then 6 months later, Nate and I did our gut microbiome test. And when we got the test back, you get like a top 5 foods to grow your microbiome, and my top #1 food was sunchokes. Like, okay, well, I don't eat them, so obviously my gut needs them, so I should start eating them again. And then we found some at Whole Foods, but they were pretty soft, like they'd been sitting there for a while. And I was like, it kind of sucks that they're not like super fresh. But then when we went to go buy the miso, I was just walking around the store looking for other varieties, and they had these big packs full of fresh sunchokes. So sunchokes have become a daily staple in our diet. We just grate them and add them to salads, or we make those fun recipes, add them to our masalas, add them to our chili. Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, so cool. Yeah, that's something I try to do nowadays as well, because I remember you talk a lot about being like as diverse as you can and eating what you can. So like whenever I see like something new or something interesting, like some veggie that I've never seen before, some fruit that I've never seen before, I try and get it. Even if it's like really expensive, I'm like, let's just try and get it and see what it's like. And you know, have a bit of everything. So you get all your various nutrients and your minerals and your vitamins and all that. Because because people keep thinking like you only eat fruit. Like, where are you gonna get? And I'm like, I eat so many things. Of course, I'm gonna hit all my targets. Don't worry, you know.
Yeah. I know. I remember, so I got to dig up Sunchokes from John's garden, and
Wow.
we did a video. He filmed the video. He just posted it on his OK Raw channel the other
Cool.
day. But I got to dig up the Sunchokes out of his garden, and I got to try those Sunchokes, the Sunchoke that he harvested from his garden in California, and the Yacon, which is also known as earth apple, and jicama. So he had all of those, and we got to do a taste test and stuff. So it was just really interesting, like having that variety and like the connection with the earth and being able to like dig up your own veggies. It was really cool.
Wow, you're so lucky you get to do that. I'm trying to persuade my boyfriend to I'm like, do you want to grow something on the balcony and all that? Because I'm like, we should start growing our own food because I mean, I do my sprouts. We haven't gotten into doing microgreens yet because at one time I had microgreen suppliers sending me stuff and all that. But now not so much. Now every time I watch Nate's grow along, I'm like, maybe I should start thinking about microgreens. But yeah, because like I think there are some local herbs like, you know, I think like just like lemongrass and all that, curry leaves. I think they can be grown really easily in pots in the balcony. I mean, previously, because before the whole world events, I used to travel so much, so I wouldn't want to grow anything because I knew that I did try to grow some stuff like basil and all, then they all died because I kept traveling. But since now I haven't traveled for the past 2 years. I'm like, I'm home every day. Maybe I should just like grow something on my balcony. So
you should. Oh my gosh, it's so fulfilling to grow your own food. Like I love going into the office and seeing all the colors. Like we have so much fun with that. Plus our food is super colorful. Like our salads are full of different colors and they're so vibrant. And I know your photos are like so amazing. And as a professional photographer myself, I absolutely love your photography. Like I
thank you.
look up to you as a photographer. I think you have incredible plating skills, and I really love seeing your posts in my feed.
Thank you so much. It's not talent. It's pure hard work. The other day when Chris asked me, when he was talking to me on his live, he asked me whether I've taken photography classes, and I said yes. I've actually taken 4. I took 2 in-person workshops. One was a basic workshop, and another one was on food styling by one of the top food stylists here in Malaysia. And then I took another, I think, 2 online food photography classes as well because I just felt like I really needed to up it because you know how it is. We compare ourselves with other people on Instagram, and then everybody, I'm like, how can your photos be so good and mine is just like, I need to get there, you know. So I've been taking classes and trying to just work on it. Although you know, there's a lot of things to think about, and then after a while I'm just like, oh, there's just too much going on. I can't remember, you know, this rule and this and that and blah blah blah, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna plonk this here and, you know, put a bit of cloth here and take the photo. And
I do that too. I know we have the spot over here. I don't know if you can see. I'll just move it over here. See that little table?
Yep. Yes, right next to the window. Yeah, we got good natural light.
That's where we took a lot of our photos. That's where I took all the photos for the Chef AJ book.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's what and I like the layout. I wanted to compliment you on the layout of the ebook. It was really nice.
Oh, thank you. Actually, I feel like the Chef AJ ebook is definitely one of my favorite layouts that I did for recipe books, and I had a lot of fun making that one with her, so I think there will be a volume 2 coming in the future.
Oh, nice. I plan to try out your apricot, your mango apricot soup. Although I don't
have to. Yes.
I don't have enough apricots, though. I checked. I was like, I only have 3 apricots left. How am I going to make the soup?
Like, you could probably use a couple dates instead.
Yeah, I was wondering whether maybe, yeah, maybe I'll mix it in with some dates and raisins or something like that.
Mhm.
Unless I can, yeah, manage to get the apricots in time. But the rest of the ingredients I've ordered because it has broccoli and all that. So I should get my broccoli delivered tomorrow. So, sometime this week, yeah, I'll make
Oh,
that.
I'm
Yeah.
excited for you to try that one because it's absolutely, I would have to say, out of all my soups, if I was to choose a soup, that's the one that I would want to make. It's so good.
Cool, cool.
So
Yeah. So,
good.
yeah, so if you guys are curious about that, that's in Make It Raw. That's the joint collaboration ebook by Chef AJ and Lissa, and it's part of the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. So I think, yeah, we're already coming to the hour, so I'm going to wrap it up. And does anybody have any last questions? If not, maybe Lissa, you can say one or two things before we end.
Okay, I want to say that, let's see, let's be inspirational here. Go to bed on time.
Yeah, we're on time.
Number one, make sure you breathe. Take a moment to breathe and really be with yourself. And always remember that you deserve nourishment. You deserve to fuel your body and give it what it needs. And make sure that you eat throughout the day so that you can help with cravings. Because there's so many people who will say, like, Lissa, you have like all this willpower. And I'm like, it has nothing to do with willpower. It's the fact that I plan, I have habits in place, and I make these choices every day, and I don't deal with cravings because I have these practices in place and I don't have to worry about it. But it takes time, and you have to work with your body, not against it. Like, I feel like too many people they go online and they're like, how to deal with cravings. And some of the top advice is distract yourself, ignore your cravings, go for a walk, call a friend, or whatever. Like, all of the advice is to forget your cravings, which doesn't help because you're just postponing the inevitable, right? You
Yeah.
have to eat. So when you distract yourself and you ignore your cravings and you push them to the side, it's just later on, like in an hour or two, you're going to be hungrier than you were.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
honor yourself. When you have a craving, tell yourself, it's just my body asking for fuel. So what are you going to fuel yourself with? Choose the food that makes you feel the best and enjoy it. Find your fallback five, those 5 recipes or 5 things that you can just fall back onto when you have a craving and you need something fast, to just do that. But yeah, I would say just nourish yourself with good sleep and good meditation, good friends like you. This has been so great. So thank you for having me on.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lissa. I think that's a great way to end it. You deserve nourishment. Yeah.
You do.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for tuning in. There'll be more lives going on until the 11th of April. So join us for the rest of it. And yeah, just wanted to, yeah, let's end with that thought. You deserve nourishment.
Love it.
All right then. Mwah. Bye.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye-bye.